Amigos de Picnic Business Bank, me da muchísimo gusto saludarlos el día de hoy, puesto que hoy, digamos, o como decimos en México, tendríamos que estar de manteles largos, porque es nuestro primer podcast que vamos a tratar de llegar a todos los inversionistas, a todos los emprendedores del mundo, en aras de conseguir la posibilidad de vincular tantas empresas en todos los países del mundo. Platicamos mucho sobre la importancia de hacerse visibles y muchos de los empresarios y emprendedores en el mundo carecen de esos vínculos que pueden ayudarlos a crecer de mil formas. Y casi siempre, si no tenemos los contactos con la gente o con los empresarios que nos puedan ayudar a brillar un poco, es decir, compartir su experiencia que han tenido en distintas empresas, va a ser un poco más limitado. Por eso decidimos crear este gran banco digital que va a tener, digamos que como cometido, vender, comprar o diluir empresas, incluso rentar las empresas, que sería como una nueva modalidad. Así que estamos muy contentos porque el día de hoy nos va a acompañar algo así como un padrino, le llaman acá en México, y seguramente él ya les contará la experiencia que ha tenido en nuestro país, México, pero hoy muy contentos de recibir a nuestro amigo Fred Strabl. Él viene de la ciudad de Viena, aunque ha viajado por todo el mundo prácticamente, ha estado en más de 70 países del mundo y recorrido, una de las más importantes empresas del mundo, como lo que es CISCO y también IBM. Así que, él fue director de ventas de esa gran empresa para toda Europa, y miren que, digamos que con toda la trayectoria que tiene, seguramente puede compartirnos muchísimas cosas, mucho que aprender en los términos de ventas, en los términos de marketing, en fin, yo creo que tendríamos una muy buena entrevista aquí en lo que sería el Picnic Business Bank. Fred Strobl, welcome to Mexico. It's a pleasure to be here in Picnic Business Bank.
For me too.
I would like to know first, who is Fred Strobl?
Okay, let me introduce myself in short, in a few words.
Okay.
I grew up in Vienna, in Europe, and I studied business at the University for Business in Vienna. And the reason why I studied, in my country it was important to have a study, to finish a study, to have a title, and comes with a title, comes with credentials.
Yes.
And then you have a ticket, an entry ticket into the business world.
Okay.
If you don't have that, the doors are closed. You can have luck, but normally you can't get anywhere. You can't get into the big companies. And only the big companies give you the real education, give you the real experience. And I had a lot of job offers, like Procter & Gamble, another company, IBM, and a lot of others, HP. And I could select. It was a different time than today. Today it looks differently, but at this time I could select, and I picked IBM because it was it was the most important company at this time, and it gave me an excellent education in sales, in computer training, and this education was much more important than the education from the university. And I started to work at IBM as a trainee, and then got into sales and sales management because I succeeded, and you get up and up and up in levels, and I succeeded, and then the company was just too big, and I did not see myself going all the way to the top where I wanted to go, either self-employed or on the top of a large corporation. That wouldn't happen, especially for my country. And so I left, and I joined another company, and then that was Alcatel. That was a French company, and that was a very funny experience because I reported directly to the board of directors, and I presented. Alcatel was a company selling to large telcos, and they sold telecommunications equipment, and they got very rich, very important, very successful. And I presented to the board, that was at the end of the 1990s, last century. I presented to the board the internet, that they need to switch to IP, need to switch from protected telephone as a telephone company to an IP company. They rejected my suggestion and they said, no, that's for kids, that's a game, it's nothing. And I got sacked. But the next day, I got a job offer from a new company from Silicon Valley, and that was Cisco.
Oh, wow.
And they offered me, because of my experience with IBM and with Alcatel, they offered me to start up the market from almost scratch. And I grew the market at Cisco for many years. And after Cisco became big and the market leader, I switched to another company, started it from scratch again, that was TIPCO. Started it from scratch and made it a big company with hundreds of employees all over Europe, where I was in charge. And then I retired early and went on a tour worldwide, like on a motorbike through Asia, all of Asia, and went to Mexico to live in Mexico, went to Canada. I went to about 70 different countries. And now I live in Mexico because I think it's the best country, the freest country in the world, and also for many other reasons. The people are friendly, the food is very good, the weather is good, beaches are the best in the world. That's why I'm here.
Genial. Voy a tratar de comentar las preguntas en español y en inglés para efectos del auditorio que pueda escucharlas en ambos idiomas. ¿Cómo impactó la innovación tecnológica en las estrategias de ventas en la empresa? Es decir, how did technological innovation impact sales strategies in your company?
Innovation was always key for the companies I worked for, and it impacted most their success. So when I worked for Cisco especially, I worked for the most innovative company and country.
Country too.
It was the country too. It is still, but there are challenges now. And I worked for the most innovative company, and we targeted large and very large businesses in order to change their business processes and in order to introduce this new technology, which was new IP technology, for communication between company, businesses, and customers. And many large companies are very, they don't like innovation. They're very conservative. They don't wanna do change. So you have to look for the opinion leader within a company and then use them like a Trojan horse, and they will sell your proposition to all the conservative people in the company. And that was the challenge in those companies, because the large companies have different roles. They work in hierarchies. They don't have a boss like a small company who decides everything and executes. You need to work with different levels, and different levels are differently conservative and innovative. And that was the main challenge.
Ahora, ¿cómo se aseguró de que su equipo de ventas estuviera preparado para adaptarse a los cambios tecnológicos y a las nuevas tendencias del mercado? How did you ensure your sales team was prepared to adapt to technological change and new market trends?
First of all, it's important to hire the right salespeople, because salespeople make a real difference. And in Europe, where I did business, salespeople were very scarce. So no one, don't know how it is in Mexico. Tell me, is it easy to find salespeople, qualified salespeople? Can you easily find salespeople? Because in Europe, it was a challenge. And so we found the best salespeople from the market in order to do that, in order to introduce change, in order to introduce innovation. And then we had to educate them, we had to train them, had to put them through education and training processes and formal sales cycles and formal sales tools in order to make them good salespeople. And market trends and changes, they always have to come from top. They always have to introduce in a large company, and I sold to large companies can only tell for them, they have to come from the top. And so you have to find a way to address the top management and listen to what they want, and then introduce the technology solving their problems.
¿Cuál fue la visión a largo plazo de su empresa en términos de innovación y desarrollo de productos? What was your company's long-term vision in terms of innovation and products development?
And all the companies I worked for, the good companies I worked for, the vision was to disrupt the industry, to become the main disruptor in their industry, which means become the market leader, the dominant market leader, and bankrupt many companies, many competitors on the way to becoming a market leader. And at CISCO, we achieved, after I left, we had achieved 90% market share. And from less than 1%, we had 1% when we started, 1% market share. And we had many competitors. And when I left, we had 90% market share and almost no competitor, no real competitor. And even today, it is a kind of monopoly, but the situation has changed because Chinese companies have copied the code, the source code of CISCO, and have sold the products under their name. And one of the names is Huawei. They stole the source code. There's a lawsuit and even a criminal charge pending that they stole the source code, and they do that successfully with the stolen source code in many parts of the world. But still CISCO has the largest market share and also the highest profit of all the companies in the business, highest margins in the business. And TIBCO, we started with zero market share, zero. No customer, no employees, nothing. Like here in the office with nothing, small office. And after I left, we had 75 market share and a few hundred employees all over Europe.
¿Podrías compartir ejemplos de estrategias de ventas innovadoras que hayan sido exitosas para tu empresa? Can you share examples of innovative sales strategies that were successful for your company?
Yes, the most successful strategies was always to analyze the market first. That's a must. You have to know who are your customers, who are your potential customers. So you analyze the whole market. You use all the information that you can get access to. And then you do cold calling. And cold calling can either be done by the salespeople, which I prefer. So cold calling is calling your customers, all the potential customers that you have defined. So you call them and you find out their needs, what they need. If they need the solution that you can provide, or if you see a potential. Because a salesperson has this understanding that he can cover the need. Some call center doesn't have the understanding. They can call, they can do a list of questions, but they don't really know what they're doing. A sales guy who is trained, who is experienced, knows exactly what he can ask, and he can also ask the right questions in order to get the answers that he needs in order to follow up. And also important is if you cold call, and not many people want to do that. That's very, very scarce. Almost no one wants to cold call other people. I don't know why, I like it. But almost no one wanted to cold call. And it's also very a sales strategy, innovative sales strategy at this time to get an appointment with top management. And you need to think about what does this, you need to find information about this top management guy. What does he or she want? what are their targets, what are their objectives, their strategies. And if you can talk about that, and if you can ask the right questions, you will get any appointment with anyone you want, anyone. There's no limit. And I think that's very innovative because most people don't do that and still don't do it.
Muy bien. ¿Cómo colabora su empresa en otras organizaciones para fomentar la innovación de las estrategias de venta? How did your company collaborate with other organizations to foster innovation in sales strategies?
At Cisco, we had a 100% sales through partners. So only partners, like large companies also. Siemens was a partner, or AT&T in the US was a partner. And they sold the products of Cisco. And Cisco did not sell anything directly. It has changed meanwhile. Meanwhile, Cisco sells directly and sells also to consumers and not only to businesses. But at this time, it was 100% over partners. So Cisco drove the need and the partners covered it. The partners did the sales, did all the administration, all the post-sales, and Cisco assisted. Cisco made the sale possible and assisted in the sale and also assisted in the post-sales and in the professional services. And at Alcatel and Siemens, at TIPCO, we sold everything directly. We did not sell, because it's a different business. It's a software business. And in software, you have to sell to large companies directly. There's no way to sell through partners. It did not work. We tried it, but it did not work.
Okay. How did you use technology to personalize the customer experience and improve sales strategies?
We used a tool on all of our computers, a sales tool, which was called Strabl. It was founded by a company in Silicon Valley, Strabl.com, and it was later acquired by Salesforce.com. And what it does, it makes you report all the facts, all the analysis of the market, the cold calling, the contacts, all the history, and it also lets you forecast the quarterly revenue, which is most important for a US company. Everything is measured in quarterly revenue, and so you have to find an estimate. You don't know how much you will sell. And the best guess is using tools like Strabl or Salesforce.com.
What were some emerging sales trends that your company observed, and how did you respond to them?
What we saw, especially when there was a crisis, I experienced many crises, the Silicon Valley, the high-tech crisis in 2003, the crisis in 9/11, the crisis in 2008, when the whole stock market crashed. So whenever there was a major crisis like that, then it was harder to get access to the top executives because they were kind of hiding and they did not want to talk to anyone. They did not want to make any mistakes and make it worse because everything goes down. The revenues go down, the profits go down. In a crisis, it was a challenge to get meetings, and then also you could not do a proper forecast without those meetings, without personal contacts. It was harder and harder to do an accurate quarterly forecast.
What were your predictions for the future of sales strategies in the context of technological innovations?
Yeah, today it is definitely, and that I predicted that computers would become better and better, and today it's definitely AI. But nothing can replace a personal contact between a salesperson and a customer. No AI can replace that. AI is only an instrument to make your forecast better, to make your planning better, to make your tools better, but it does not replace any personal contact. And that was the predictions actually that we all had. But now it's happening. Computers are getting stronger, more powerful, and AI is changing a lot of industries.
And what did artificial intelligence impact the sales strategies and outcomes of your company?
500%, we had 500% growth rates and 95% profit margin, and that is not sustainable. That cannot be sustainable. So we had to change the strategy. We had to add new services, professional services. We had to add new offers. We had to add new customers, new partners, and a lot. We had to change a lot in order to make it more sustainable, because those profit margins at those growth rates were not sustainable over time.
How did your company access the risk and opportunities associated with adopting new innovative sales strategies?
Yeah, the company or my organization did not did not make those decisions, because we were an entity, a profit center within the company, and all those decisions were made in the headquarters in the US. We were run like a company, like any other company, as a profit center, but all the decision-making processes about the products, about the risk assessments, about the opportunities were made in the headquarters, and we executed it in the organization, the local organization.
Okay. And now, what were the main challenges and opportunities your company faced in the process of digitally transforming sales strategies?
Well, the number one challenges are always hiring. So as I said, the number one problem is finding the right people, and that goes to finding the right salespeople. It's always a challenge to find the right salespeople. And as soon as we had hired the right salespeople, trained them, and gave them the sales tools, we mastered the challenge that we had.
Okay. And now, what talent development and sales training programs did your company implement to drive innovation in sales strategies?
We sent them to the best training organizations and let them pass those trainings. Those were product trainings. We sent them to the headquarters to have product training. We even paid them a postgraduate study, if it would make sense, if it would make them acquire the right skills. And we paid them a postgraduate study in Fontainebleau. So we made sure that everybody got the right training in order to make the job in a 100% overperforming way.
Okay. How did your company evaluate the success of new innovative sales strategies, and what performance metrics did you use?
As I said, we only had the quarterly revenues as a performance metrics. Everything was performed according to the quarterly revenues. So if you would exceed the quarterly revenues, we're not talking about profit margins, we're not talking about profits, we're not talking about any other metrics, only quarterly profit. So all we had to do is to exceed the quarterly profits and plan for an overperformance of quarterly profits, and we will be rewarded in commission, in rewards at the annual sales conference. We had an annual sales conference, and the best performers, and again, the overperformers of the quarterly profits were given very expensive gifts, and everyone wanted to be rewarded on stage. That was a high motivator. So the only metrics were the quarterly profits, the quarterly revenues, and the revenues included very high margins. So we did not put the margins or the profits extra.
And how did your company demonstrate resilience and adaptability in maintaining its innovative sales strategies during time of crisis?
Yeah, we did more cold calling because it's so important to target the right customers with the right people and make appointments. And in terms of crisis, it's even more important. You get more rejections, but also your competitors get more rejections. So if you're more persistent, if you have better people who do better cold calling and who get more meetings with the customer, you will outperform them. And that's the only thing you can do if you have a customer base and you have products to sell or solutions to sell. That is the only way to get more personal meetings, have more sales meetings with customers, and you will exceed the targets easier and kill your competition.
How did your company collaborate with the customers in the co-creation process of innovative solutions that met their sales needs?
We always had a technical architect at every meeting because the products I sold and the solutions I sold were very complex and very technical. And so, of course, you can sell something even if you don't understand what it is. You can sell it, but it will fail probably when it's implemented because the expectations are not set right. And so we worked with architects, with software architects, with engineers, special engineers who could make sure that nothing was promised what could not be implemented. Otherwise, you have salespeople. You know this situation maybe. Salespeople who promise everything. It happens in a car sale, right? They promise, the car can do this, can do that. You buy the car and it's not true. It cannot do it. So they have oversold. And the same, even more, happens in technological sales processes. And also we made sure that the software and hardware architect was also there when the solution was implemented. So when the customer did all the software and hardware implementation of our solutions, we sent our best architect to make sure that everything went smoothly and everything went according to the promises.
And the other question is that what advice would you give to entrepreneurs from around the world joining Picnic Bank to foster the growth of their companies?
I would give the advice to detect the mega trends and then go after those mega trends. And what is a mega trend? A mega trend, for example, is the internet. Is a mega trend. The internet is very young. We had bookstores in the 1990s, or even today. There are few bookstores in Mexico, more bookstores. In the US, there are not many bookstores anymore. Why? Because Amazon has killed all the bookstores. Amazon has killed Barnes & Noble and all the other bookstores. That was a mega trend. And another mega trend is, for example, Uber is a mega trend. You still have taxis, but in most of the world you don't even have taxis, or not many taxis anymore. The people use Uber and Didi. Here I think there's a political reason why there's no Uber or no Didi, but in all of the world they use Uber and Didi and replace the taxis. And Airbnb is a mega trend to rent your condo or your house on the internet. It's a new trend and it's killing hotels. It's hurting hotels and it's very successful. And you need to find those mega trends and then put your business in solving problems or in solving challenges that those mega trends face. And if you offer a solution for that, then you will be fine. You will do well. Another mega trend is, of course, Bitcoin is a huge mega trend. Bitcoin is very popular in Mexico already. You may not know it, but you can buy it from Banco Azteca. You can buy your fridge in Electra in Mexico with Bitcoin. And Mercado Libre, you have Mercado Pago in Mexico. You can put your Bitcoin or some Bitcoin, a fraction of Bitcoin, into Mercado Pago. You get a card from Mercado Pago and you pay with your card in Bitcoin. And Mexico is a Bitcoin country. And I show you something. I carry this. What is this? Yeah, this is basura. Yeah, it is basura. This is this. Yeah, I carry it here because it's not worth anything. It's basura, and the reason is because it loses value very fast. So if I keep this long time, it is worth nothing. You can use it as toilet paper only. They have experienced already in Venezuela, in Argentina. Ask the people in Venezuela, in Argentina. They have experienced exactly that. And if you go to the supermarket here, you go to Chedraui, you can experience it yourself. Every year, whatever you buy costs more and more and more and more. And Bitcoin solves that problem. Bitcoin is a currency that is already used in Mexico. You can also already safely use it on your phone. Mercado Pago, Electra, they have solutions. Ricardo Salinas has many videos on YouTube, everywhere, in all the channels on YouTube. And you can have safe money. You can have stable money, which will not be devalued. And everything over time, over a period of 5 years, everything gets more and more cheaper in Mexico. And all around the world, whatever you buy gets cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. And that is a mega trend because it will replace the banks. Bitcoin will replace all the banks, most of the banks. And think about the remittances that Mexico has. Mexico is, I think, number 1 or number 2 in remittances. And people pay a very high amount in fees. Western Union, Western Union, or other remittances companies, banks. Yeah. You send it from a bank, they charge 10% or 5%, 10%. You send it in Bitcoin, you pay nothing. You send it for free. That is a mega trend. And in my opinion, and I told that my board of directors 20 years ago that the internet is a mega trend. They did not believe me. Now I'm telling you that Bitcoin is a mega trend and it will replace banks and it will replace a lot of other businesses. And if you own it, it will make your life cheaper and cheaper every 5 years.
Muy bien. Pues qué agradable entrevista con el Magister Fred Strabl, quien fuera director de IBM y de CISCO. Su última estancia fue en Silicon Valley, así que bueno, pues creo que hay mucho que aprender de él. Seguiremos en contacto, puesto que él estará muy cercano a México, en particular además a nuestro gran estado Veracruz, y también por supuesto en diferentes entrevistas y vínculos que tendremos con él a través de Picnic Business Bank. Así que pues no nos queda más que agradecer a Fred Strobl, ex colaborador, ex director de IBM y CISCO. Thank you very much for coming for this Picnic Business Bank. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Muy bien, pues muchas gracias en esta primera emisión de Picnic Business Bank, patrocinado por supuesto por Juanote Café, y nos veremos en la segunda emisión de este maravilloso banco Picnic Business Bank, que les iremos platicando en lo sucesivo todos los proyectos, todos los efectos que tendríamos en aras de fortalecer el banco y de por supuesto ayudar a todos los empresarios del mundo. Muchas gracias.